All right. Quite a lot to go over in this video. Go ahead and give me a few seconds to be live and have people be alerted that we're live and et cetera, et cetera. So that's live there. We're looking good in there. Give me another half second or so. Yep, we're all good there. All right. So then, as I said, we got quite a lot to go over. I'm gonna try and get this done so everybody can watch practice for the Cup Series if you would like at the top of the hour. I believe it's at 11 Eastern, probably like 11:05 or whatever. Um, so first and foremost, just got to get this out of the way. Not only are these our prices, currently in the end of finalizing another partnership. Now I don't know who that may be with. There's not hints of that anywhere on our YouTube or anything like that. But I can tell you right now that these prices will go up. It's not a matter of if they will. If you want to join, now would probably be the time to do so, especially if you're looking at the annual memberships, because I know we've had a lot of people join that, and I get a lot of questions for that. I know for a fact these will also go up. So if you would want that, now would probably be the best time. I would say probably before April. That's probably when you want to go ahead and get on those memberships if you aren't already, because there will be increases there. First and foremost, talking about the COTA Xfinity Series race. Yet again, thank you, Astukas. You can find this in the Discord on every single race that he'll be providing. You can find this in Discord. He'll be providing this for every single race this year. And what it is it's a analysis by looking at the data, and we'll go through here because obviously I want you to see what's all in there. But this will also be behind the paywall. I won't be showing this probably in April as well. And just off the bat, and yet again, this should be big enough. Yeah, cool. We're at 1080p on YouTube. Everybody can read through this stuff. What's going on? Good morning, Dave. Um, and what we're looking at here, and now yet again, should probably look at. Actually, we'll look at practice data after this. But these are just the distribution of dominator points by the finishing positions and fast laps and laps led. Mainly, obviously the basic things that matter more at the 1.5s, but still you're able to see where everything's at or where the data is being distributed. And what I like is a very easy to read fashion. You can feel free to pause it or look at this or whatever you want. I'm just kind of going through so everybody can uh, view it and stuff before we get to the nitty gritty and stuff. And with how fast Connor Zillage is this weekend, at least in the Xfinity series at the moment, I got a cough. Give me one moment. Hold on. With how fast Connor is, also you can also go through and look at this in more detail if you have the file yourself. Um, what I'm really interested in looking at are the top, you know, lap leaders and basically your top 5 or your top 25 dominator points at similar road courses. Now, yet again, we're having an uptick in laps this weekend at COTA, not just for the Xfinity series, but obviously for the Cup series and stuff. And when we're looking at specifically what those guys are doing, I got a cough again. Hold on. I don't know why I'm covering my mouth if I have the mic muted. Um, and you look at where people are starting, and yet again, we're not at least for what I'm looking at here is I'm mainly looking at, the tracks that we're looking at, and so, like, probably wouldn't consider yet again, entering this week now, yet again, this has a lot of the Xfinity Series tracks we've been at. I would specifically look at Mid-Ohio, Portland, Sonoma, obviously Watkins Glen, although yeah, Xfinity race at Watkins Glen. Am I going crazy? Um I wouldn't necessarily be so concerned about Charlotte Road, but still, it is nice to see at least the distribution between the fast laps and laps that these guys get, especially when they start on front in cars that are like clear and dear, like the best cars on the circuit from a speed perspective. Okay, and so when we're looking through here and you're looking at the amount of laps led and the amount of fast laps we're looking at, I think this probably turns into a situation where even if Connor is the fastest, a pretty good projection of his should probably be around the range of anywhere between like 35 and 48 laps led, and then probably at least 20 to 35 fast laps, because we're still seeing now. Yet again, Connor's going to be fast, no lie about that. But we look at we're probably going to lose. 3 to 4 laps per stage. Where you get 1 to 2 yellows and stuff. And there are chances that Connor, is at like 26 fast laps somewhere around there. But still, it is good to see where, kind of the amount of laps led and fast lap points that these guys are getting in this to be, your top scorers in these events. And you can also see, yet again, it's not really prevalent for this race because Connor's starting up front, but we've also seen where like the fastest guys have come through, where it's AJ or Cindric. But you look at where your main lap leaders are starting when they start first and when they actually work out and stuff. You can see where they're going at, and you can see how each team has performed and stuff like that. If you guys would want to go through now. Also, talking about place differential, yet again, I entered this weekend and kind of where I'm at is I'm kind of being more aggressive, at least to test it out here and see how it goes. I'm going to personally probably be more aggressive on starting guys from the top half of the field, especially in a race like this. Yet again, we'll see in when we look at the practice data, just kind of how fast guys are compared to other people. Now, there are people in the back of the field that tend to finish better, and we'll talk about that going through as well. But for the most part, this is where we're looking at finishing position and starting position. And what's cool about this is you can go through and you can see, what or each individual driver in these situations. So I believe there's a Ryan Sieg out here somewhere. Where are we at? Where are we at? Yeah. So here's another situation of in 2022, Ryan Sieg started 35th, finished 11th. Yet again a situation to where he ran into a mechanical issue. Took the provisional. Also, shout out to Alpha Beta Prime for not getting any of their cars in. It literally can't be a better day. But like realistically, when you have you can see, hey man, when you get good cars starting in the back of the field, there's a real good chance they're gonna pass a lot of people. They're gonna get a lot of place differential. And if you, like I said, if you want, you can get this file and look at it in more detail. You can also look at where these guys are at in terms of the people who, either blew motors or just, when the guy starting first, runs into an issue, you can see what happens and, where these guys are at. And then you can goof around and see where the people are at, so on and so forth. When you look at scoring thresholds, you look at the pretty um, high drop off. Like obviously you have your lap leader or your main guy who wins the race, gets all laps led, but then you're gonna have a lot of people scoring, even the guys who are getting place differentials and stuff. Your second, third, and fourth highest guys are going to be right around 50. After that, we're going to have a lot of dudes in the 40s at the end of this race. Okay, and so when we're looking at that aspect and we're looking at what you know whether it's projections, whether it's your projections that you're using or whatever the race is ending at, for the most part, you're going to obviously have the guys in 50s, and you're going to have a lot of people scoring in the 40s, which should be reflected, at least in my in my projections, that I have a lot of guys projected in the 40s. And when you're looking at them head to head between the guys in the back of the field, it's much more important to just take the raw points from the 40s, even if they aren't necessarily hitting value, because you need the raw points versus guys in the back of the field scoring like, low 30s and 20s and stuff like that. And you can also see, the points at other tracks and stuff, and you can see how the teams have performed and everything like that. I just want to give a quick overview. And again, I did this for Daytona. Obviously, I was out for Atlanta last week, but Astugas did the same thing. And yet again, we'll do this same overview tomorrow for the Cup Series and stuff. I think it's very easy to understand and see things and stuff like that. When we look at the practice data, yet again, shout out Abnormally Distributed for what I think. I think he does a better job when it comes to road courses than I do whenever I pull data. So I'm just using his here. When we look at where these guys are at now, granted, I removed a lot of the slow laps. Why am I, dude? I've had this cough for like a month and a half, dude. Is it measles? Do I have measles here in Texas? When we look at, I removed all the slow laps, but these are your lap times in seconds. And when we look at your averages, and then also these are the top 5 laps of the session, not necessarily consecutive, just your 5 best laps, which I think is much better to look at when it comes to a road course. Also, I mean, we're only working with guys running like fucking 19 laps and stuff. I mean, even in situations like this, like you could see that, like, probably remove this one from Balicki. Let's realign. And we're seeing that there's a pretty significant drop off between how fast Connor is and how slow the rest of the field is. Now, this is averages on the entire um, practice, and then obviously these are your top 5 rankings and stuff. But I mean, there's just a clear drop off of how fast the top guys are and how slow the back guys are. Okay, when we also combine this with um, where we're at, I mean, especially at the bottom of the field. Um, Interesting that Williams Wallace. Now, yet again, I mean, this guy's he's literally a child. Okay, so maybe not, maybe might not be that shocking. This little tadpole figuring out what he's doing. But just seeing a JGR car be that slow is certainly interesting. Now, as we continue to go through here, and I'm going to pivot to just good old racing reference so we can see really fast. There are people who, hold on. There are people who might typically start in the back of the field who are really good at getting place differential, even in situations to where their practice laps might not show that. Okay, and so when we're looking through this field of the last 10 racers, we see that Balicki, obviously Parker didn't make the race. Ryan Sieg, we'll look at Poole, we'll look at LeBay really fast, we'll look at Clements. And again, this is just racing reference stuff. We can sort by top tens or whatever. But when we're looking at where drivers like Balicki finish, and we look at, you got to get it in the same equipment that he's been with, Mario Gosling cars. Like, there's no real change in what that team's doing. And we're seeing where Balicki is able to finish in a lot of these races. Okay. Now, sometimes he overqualifies, whatever the case may be, but we're looking at pretty solid finishes from Balicki. Okay. We do the same thing with Ryan Sieg, okay? Now, yet again, he's starting dead last on the field, okay? Could very easily be a situation where, he runs poor or runs into an issue. Now, he has been wrecked late in these races and in some situations, but for the most part, we can see, hey, man, real good chance he gets like 16 place differential on the floor. You look at Brendan Poole, starting in the back of the field, somebody who's able, who has proven to stay out of trouble and be there late at the end of races. Same thing with Alex LeBay. Okay, now a little bit more volatile, but the reason I'm bringing this up is these are guys who are expected to at least carry some bit of ownership when we're looking at the value in this race. Okay, and like that's the reason for it. Okay, and so when we start looking at the actual starting grid here, and you look at the the price that we have on Connor. Okay, now for the most part, I would lean data's supporting that unless he blows a motor, okay, he could speed on pit lane, whatever, but he knows what he's doing. Expected to win the race. I would be shocked if outside of him running a mechanical issue, he's not finishing the top 3 and leading the most amount of laps in this race. Okay, so past that, where else are expected points coming from in this grid? Okay. And again, we're spending 10-3. Okay. The reason why I just brought up Blabay, Poole, all these guys in the backfield is because for the most part, we are using. Again, I'm not saying you have to do this in every lineup, but we're seeing ownership go into Ryan Sieg. We're seeing ownership go to Brendan Poole at 54. We're seeing ownership go to Balicki and LeBay at 66 and 60, or at 67 and 6,000. Okay, because if we're paid up for so many guys, if we're paid up for so many people in the teams and stuff, hey, we need value somewhere, right? Like that, those seem to make sense. Okay, same thing with Clements. If we need, a 5K guy, if we're throwing in Ryan Ellis, Clements, or whatever. Chris Wright is also now yet again this guy, this fellow. He's not even on here. Give me a moment. If we're looking for Chris Wright and his astonishing ability to just find crashes and cause crashes and stuff like that, but we look at where, oh my Lord. Come on, fellow. We look at Chris Wright's races here, and only ran Daytona Atlanta last year. We look at his crashed out of both road courses. I'm pretty sure I played Chris Wright on every road course, dude. 18, 32nd. This guy, well, this is worse than I remembered. I played him in all these road courses. That's insane, dude. All of these road courses, he was in the top like 20 in all these races. That's crazy. That's way worse than I remember. That's insane. Like Chris Wright, like at 52, there's a real chance Chris Wright is running 24th at some point in this race today. If we're looking for low own value and stuff like that. But as we're looking, like we see Jesse Love, we see Austin Hill, we see Sheldon Creed, we see Daniel Dye, Sammy Smith, Alfredo, Nicholas Sanchez, Hocevar, Sawalish, okay? All these drivers, and again, William was a bit slow, you know, bit concerning, okay? Not the greatest thing to see, but at least his 5 lap isn't too bad. He's starting where the hell is William B. Sawalish at? He's starting 23rd at 75. Um Don't hate it if we're in the 7K range, right? But it seems to me like these if you're in the top 20 in any of I mean, we'll highlight these guys here, and then we'll sort them by this here. Let's see how many people fall out. LeBay, first off, I'm not playing Partis, I'll tell you that right now. But LeBay, Balicki, hey man, they fall out of I mean, they're still in the top 20. Like the guys in green are the guys you want to play. That's where I would lean to, okay? I would envision that we see an uptick on ownership on probably Hocevar. I currently where are we at with little Hocevar? I know I'm not gonna have much of Hocevar since I'm gonna be probably so aggressive on a lot of guys starting in the teens. So I'll probably end up at like 20 to 25% Hocevar. I think that'll probably be under the field. He is in the SS Greenlight race, and I'm not really concerned about the equipment. But I think I've seen enough from here to show to me that I probably don't want a ton of Hocevar, but these are the drivers that I am probably going to be chasing after. Um, Trying to get ownership to fit in my like if you're using a majority of these guys, I think you're going to be sitting pretty good. Yet again, pool's slow, but when we look at his data or we look at where he's finished in these races, he's very much in play. Um, Same thing with Balicki, LeBay. I think if you're going to these guys for your value, you really aren't making a mistake in your construction or anything like that. Yeah. So let's see what the chat saying here. APR still has pool. I don't know. I don't know what that means, Andrew. Hmm, hmm. Oh, he's still in the race. Yeah. I'm sorry. I'm like over here thinking, I'm like, what do you mean? Yeah, Alpha Beta Pro. Oh, that's because Pool does his own thing, right? But it is very funny. Brad and Parker didn't make the race. What's going on, Zach? Hello, Jake. SaberSim having Hocevar at 49% ownership. Yeah. Sorry about that, Andrew. Um, when we look at then again, I now yet again now I'm paid. Okay, clearly this is my job. Okay, like SaberSim will pay. Like we get money from SaberSim, right? I like SaberSim for all the other sports. There's situations like I don't now. Carson Hocevar might very well push like 40% ownership today. Like that might not be inaccurate. I'm absolutely not going to have that much Hocevar. Yet again, because I'm probably going to have so much Austin Hill, so much Jesse Love, Sanchez, all the guys up here. Also, I'm in the same point. I'm also when we look yet again when we look at where where we at. When we're looking here, okay, like this is what our kind of baseline is for players in the pool that we want. 40 is a really, really good area to look at, okay? Especially when we start looking at where the min is at, 35, 36, so on and so forth here. I'm okay with playing both Connor and Ross together. I have lineups that have that. But I'm just going to be very aggressive on trying to get guys who are starting in the top half of the field who can kind of just by sitting there and in the high 30s, low 40s and stuff like that. So I'm I'm not too high on Hocevar based on what we're seeing here. Um, that's really my play. But I was gonna say that yet again, you know, road courses, what no matter what you're doing, okay, whether you're hand making projections, whether other people are using whatever the case may be, road courses are usually way easier and simpler to make projections for, to sim for, to have contest sims for, to have an expectation of what lineups will be played, just because the amount of points in the contest are so small. Um, it's usually easier to get a feel for it. Okay, so I think most of ours is probably going to come in quite heavy. Actually, now that I'm like talking more out loud, I made a lot of my stuff last night. What is Hocevar even? What is he at? He's 86. So if you're doing, you know, Connor Zillage and then, you like a Ryan Sieg, like Hocevar at 86, it probably seems appealing. I would lean much heavier towards Sanchez, Sammy Smith, Anthony Alfredo. Kind of similar. Where are we at here? I may have X'd out. I did indeed. Let's start over. Like a guy that I'm kind of interested in is like Sammy Smith as well. We look at where Sammy Smith's 11th or 10th on 5 lap. He is overall, Sammy is at, he's 19th. But you look at what Sammy does in these races here. Like I can't really be too disappointed, especially when it's at tracks that I mean, he wrecks out like whatever. We can't do anything about that. But when we're looking at little baby Sammy, and then what he was able to do at tracks, like I mean, he does have upside. Where is he starting? He's starting 16th. So when we look at where Sammy Smith is starting, I mean, he's starting right where he should be, if not slightly further back than normal. Like I would happily take Sammy Smith at that versus Hocevar at such a higher ownership percentage. Trying to think of other people as well. Same thing with like I mean I know I didn't bring him up, but like Clements has the same situation here. Not Sammy Smith, but starting back the field looking for a value play. Um, 18th at Watkins Glen, 22nd at Sonoma, 19th at Austin last year, 19th at Indy. Like I think really the only value plays that you should really kind of be getting to would be Clements, Poole, LeBay, Balicki, which you don't even need all those. Like most lineups, you just need one of them. And if you need, significant savings, Poole and Clements are where you're at and stuff like that. But this is about where we're at. We can kind of be. I don't really want to be more aggressive here, but let's go ahead and remove anything over 105 for some of these faster guys here. Because we're running, what is that? Minute 6 here. Yeah, so like Jeb Burton, leave him there. I don't really want to mess with anything else. We take that lap out from Sammy Smith. We'll see where he kind of jumps up. There's really no reason these guys would they're gonna be running 108s. Where does that jump Sammy at here? Up slightly. When we're just looking at his good laps. Like, I mean, that's kind of the direction that I kind of want to move on or move into and stuff like that. Hold on. So Burton and Benedetto, we don't really have a single clue on where these two guys are at. I mean, we're coming like this is just one. Like, I mean, one, I don't see either of these guys in this situation. Harrison Burton, outside of winning the summer race, I was gonna say Daytona 500. Outside of winning Daytona, literally did nothing. Okay, same thing. Did very little at road courses, we can go ahead and analyze how Burton's done. That's okay. 10 races too far out. We'll let that load. We'll get another one. I mean, Burton does not look attractive from the practice speed. Same thing with Benedetto, but we'll take a gander at what Burton has done in his past at the road courses in the Xfinity series. I can't imagine it's been a lot. At the moment, I mean, we might discover something here, but I don't really have a reason to play Harrison Burton or De Benedetto at their prices or their projected. Okay, let's X out some of the stuff. We're clogging Google over here. We'll let that load. I'll look through anything here. The guys from the back to avoid. I talked about that, Kyle. Yet again, I'll be getting done with this pretty soon, so people can watch practice and stuff, so you can go back and listen to it. Zach to the future. You can buy my projections and see the guys that I would be using. That's probably my simplest answer. I'm giving so much information here. I think that's such a dumb question to ask right now. When we look at I'm not going to look at 29 or 2019. No reason to look at stuff, from 6 years ago. We'll look at these two as the best we have. 6 in Joe Gibbs equipment. Wrecked out. 5th, 9th, 15th. Oh, this is COVID year. Oh, hell. 25th, 8th. I mean, pretty much where the Joe Gibbs car should be at. Take a quick gander at the last two here with way different competition. Back of the field. That's not. I mean, we're not seeing anything super encouraging at all here. Like, this is the Wood Brothers equipment, but not really anything, going crazy here. I also think that AM Racing is probably 14th on intermediates. I think with Burton being in this car, might actually bring it down on road courses a bit. But I'm not seeing anything here to prioritize Burton at all. We can look at Matt. I X'd out of it. De Benedetto might show up on this one. Where are we at, Matt? All right. That's pretty depressing. That's pretty bad. That's really bad. I'm probably not playing De Benedetto or Burton today. And then I'm being underweight on Hocevar just from what I'm seeing. Let's see what else. That's an Austin Green. I mean, he's in the data. I mean he's having phenomenal speed. We look at where Austin Green has been now. I believe he's been more of a place differential play, but he's finished phenomenally well in these races here. Now yet again he's starting a lot closer than what he's been at. Yet again, these were his first races. Him at 7,200, it's going to come down to a point per dollar on him. I will give this out. I have Austin Green for 33.45 points today. That's him finishing around 15th with a fast lap. And so if we bump him up slightly and give him like 14th, he's looking close to like a 4.9 value. I think Austin's in play as well, based on the finishing positions that we've seen from Austin, specifically in situations to where he drove through the field and he finished in like actual quite respectable finishing positions, stuff like that. So Austin's in play. I mean, I'm gonna be very heavy on guys that are just listing green here. If they're not, I'm probably gonna have little to no ownership to them. What else? I think that's really about it. Last man, LeBay or Pasta. I would just go on whatever my projections say. Sage Karam. I'm not playing Sage with him being in the Gates car. That's the wrong. I'm on the wrong. I'm on the wrong window. Look at where Karam is. I'm just not going to be playing Sage at this speed. I just don't see a reason to with him being in the in the Gase car. I'm just not. I do believe that's it. I'll let you guys go. Yet again, thank you. Normally distributed. I'm gonna let you guys go. And, pretty fast. I mean, I think we covered about everything. If you want my actual members, you can join at the link in the description below. Then you go to membership. Past that, I'll see you guys tomorrow for the Cup Series race, and best of luck. We'll see how it goes. Let me check chat one last time. I think that's it. Ooh, wait, I have a question on. I'm not answering that, Kyle. So see, no, Ryan's in play. Why would Ryan Sieg why would Ryan Sieg not be in play here? Why would Ryan not be in play? I don't understand. I don't understand that type of question. I don't understand that type of reasoning. I don't understand that. When yet again we've showed where we at. We've shown situations. You can go through all this and look through. Let's find Ryan again. Hey, situation very similar to this week. We look at where Ryan finishes in road course. We'll just look back the last 2 years and if he's starting last, what is his baseline finish? Actually, I'm gonna do it on this one. Actually, this is gonna be way easier to just show this stuff. All right, we look at Ryan Sieg starting dead last. What is his potential? Where does he normally perform in these races? He's at like what 6,800 or something like that. Yeah, 6,800 starting last with these finishing positions. Like, duh, of course he's in play. What are we doing here? Context is important. You might be like, maybe you join late and you're like, why are these guys in green? I implore you to go back and watch the video. Watch that 2x. You got plenty of time before the slate starts. Past that, I think that's about it. I will see you guys. I'll see you guys later. Bye bye.